Apsara Fonseka, daughter of General Sarath Fonseka, is our guest for today's Boston Lanka Point of View. Apsara, let's talk about your father, General Sarath Fonseka. There are many reports, and most of them could be misconceptions or inaccurate about your father. For example, that he has a terrible temper, he's very revengeful, he's greedy for power, etc., etc. As the daughter of General Sarath Fonseka, how would you describe your father?
Well, to the family, he has always been very, very sensitive. Or most of these rumors are misconceptions, like people for the smear campaign that the government started. They basically said that my father was going to be the Hitler, the Idi Amin. But right now, at present, anyone who is going through this current situation can see who actually the Idi Amin and the Hitler is. But the fact of that itself shows that most of these hot-tempered rumors and things like that is false. But of course, I have to say he has his policies, he has his rules. You can't command a big army as ours if you don't have rules and if you don't have policies. I mean, you can't be a person without a head. You can't not be a headstrong person and command the army, especially when there is a 30-year-old war going on. He does have his policies and his turn, but he's not the villain they made him to be. People will get the chance once he's out of jail to for him to prove it to himself.
How would you describe the relationship between your mother and your father?
They've been together for almost 31 years, and they are a very surprising couple, I should say. When my father used to get stressed during the war, my mother used to be more calm than normal. So I think she's the yin for his yang. Basically, they make a good couple just because um, for his weaknesses, she brings the strong points, and for his strong points, he brings the weak points. And as you can see, they're fighting this against democracy as the corruption, and the fight against losing the democracy together. My mother is as headstrong as my father, and everyone can see that right now. And I think that's what makes them a good couple. They've always stick together, even when me and my sister would do something wrong. They'll always stick together to make sure that we don't, misuse or take advantage of that fact.
High Cop has been in the news since the day of your father became a presidential candidate. Recently, it was revealed in the parliament that Sri Lanka Army had not purchased any arms or any other equipment from High Cop International of the USA. Is there anything that you would like to clarify or add?
I wouldn't like to go too much into detail regarding this because there's two cases going on for my father, so I don't want to basically get into it. But what I would like to say is this is what we have been trying to tell the whole world from the beginning. It's just we didn't have the publicity like the government did or the media for our favor, so we didn't really get to show our innocence. But as you can see, it's getting proven by themselves as well. But I think the further it goes in the future, you probably will be able to see all these rumors about everything will change, and you'll see how they were just rumors and they were just mere campaigns.
Why do you think this retired Army Captain Upul Ilangange, who lives in Yokohama, came forward to share all those accusations against your father and your husband?
I think it was all because of money. Um, as I could say, I mean, he's a person who would do anything for money. I mean, you can say if he keeps on calling my father Aya and if he is as actually as close as he says he is, person wouldn't go down to that level unless you really do have some hidden agenda. Um, so, I mean, he just showed his fast. He showed what kind of a character he has, and I'll just let the people decide for themselves what kind of a person he is.
He says that he's the one who helped your father, mother, you, and your sister to obtain the green card in USA. Is that true?
Anybody living in USA or any other international country for the matter knows that you have to go through the right officials. Like for example, immigration to get a green card. He was not God, or he was not above President Obama or anybody for him to be able to get us green card. My mother won the green card lottery in around 2003, and that's how my father and my sister got the green card as well. My father was totally against it, but the only way he would even want to do it is because I basically said my sister can get free education if she has a green card. So that was the only reason he would even consider it. Now, if this person, Upulilangamge, thinks he is all power, almighty, that he can get us the green card, he can get me into schools, I mean, that's his fault. He basically thinks very highly of himself.
You know, there are lots of information about your husband Danuna, and I'm sure some may be wrong. Now, could you please share a little bit about Danuna, the man you know, the man you fell in love and got married, and the man you still love, and man, in your view, wrongly accused and paying a very high price for his relationship as the son in law of Sarath Fonseka?
Sure. Actually, no one has ever asked me that question, and I'm really thankful to you for even asking that, so I can actually show the country or the world who he really is. I met Darren. We've been dating each other since we were 30. My mother knew, my father didn't know because he was mostly in the war zone. But to make it short, Danan is a very hardworking person. We used to work really hard to achieve what we achieved over there. We came to USA together. We studied together, and we found jobs as soon as we graduated, and bought our first house when we were 24, which I think is a pretty big achievement for us. He's very hardworking. He's never lazy. Um, he's very honest. So whatever people say and whatever people make him to look like, I mean, I hope one day he'll be able to show who he really is. And I know for a fact I feel sad that he has to go through this because of my family's political incidents, but I don't think he regrets even a little bit. He'll always be behind my father in whatever he does, and he'll always stand by my family. I know that for sure. So I don't think he regrets any minute of it.
Apsara, could you please share your feelings when you hear people like KP, who was a close confidant of Prabhakaran, getting preferential treatment, living in comfort under the government patronage, while your father, who led the combat forces to eradicate the terrorism from Sri Lanka, was held in detention?
It's life is never fair. I guess it's not a good feeling, definitely, because of whatever said and done, these people were the ones who bought arms and ammunition to the country, and who actually killed our soldiers who fought for the freedom of our country. So it's not a fair game, and definitely not the right thing to do. But then, there's always an agenda behind it. Although it's seen as not fair from a lot of people, um, some other people might see a different agenda and different reason to bring them up. I don't think it's fair that my father needs to be inside just because he didn't play the way some people wanted him to play, and he's the only one who has uh, gone against as a politician. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that. He's not the only one. There's a lot more who's going against as politicians, but he's the one who's still fighting more than ever. So just because he is in the opposition side, he shouldn't be, I guess, treated this way. But there are different agendas to treat people in different ways, and some people do use it.
Apsara, could you please tell the Boston Lanka viewers, if you want to address President Rajapaksa in a public forum and say something on behalf of your father, what that would be?
I would personally say that he is the president of all the people, not just his party or supporters, that he is the president of the whole nation and he should respect his position and work for the good of the nation, for the good of his people, that the checks and balance system that he is destroying will work against him one day. And so he needs to start basically make doing a fair play, that corruption and coercion always leaves a trail, and he will be accountable. He will be held accountable for that. And to set an example, not let anybody else run the use the power, family or anything, and to set an example to everybody, family, to people, and to do the right thing. I mean, people say that it's not him which is sometimes doing the things that's done to my father. If that's the case, he's the president. He should be able to take control and he should be able to show the world and the country that he can do the right thing.
Do you think your father, General Fonseka, lost to President Rajapaksa at the last presidential elections, or the vote was rigged in some way as alleged by some?
I was there when all the election votes were coming up, all the results were coming up. I mean, people need to look for themselves and see everything was almost the exact way. We were losing the exact way. We lost Colombo with the whole power vote with UNP, who never loses Colombo. It doesn't seem realistic for me. And everything we lost was 30 60, 30 60, and we seem to win the whole of northern and the eastern side, which seemed to be sending a message to people. Um, so I personally don't think we lost, and I'm sure a lot of Sri Lankans are with me on this.
Now, Apsara, let me ask you this question. Your father is in detention and you don't know where your husband is. There are all kinds of accusations against your husband and your father. You are in a foreign country, and how are you coping?
Um, I think what doesn't kill a person makes them stronger, and I believe that life must have something basically challenging for me in the future, and life is getting me ready for it. I come from a very strong family. Life has never been easy for us. We've always gone through worst times. My father went through 3 suicide attacks, knowing your father's life is always uncertain. Is not an easy task. We always lived this way. It's always been a risky life for me. I'm just learning to cope. I mean, you never know how strong you are until, strong is the only choice you have. And you can't really give up, because if you give up, the whole family might fall. So, you know, you have to be strong for everybody. I can't fall, my sister can't fall because my parents need us, my husband needs me, and I will do whatever it takes to bring justice for them. And at least one day when I look back, I won't have any regrets. I'll know that I tried my best. I don't believe in regrets, and I always believe that a person needs to fight for what they think is right. So that's how I was raised, and that's how I'll always be.
Thank you very much, Apsara. It's a pleasure to have you in our program.
Thank you very much, and thank you very much to you and Boston Lanka for letting me speak our side of the story and giving a little bit light to what we are going through.